I did.
I watched it after the fact.
Brilliant.
Good, good. But I mean, you did watch it though, right, Jillian?
Yes, I
It
did.
wasn't live, Jillian.
Yeah, I know.
Oh,
That's the
okay,
only thing
good.
that's the only thing that is where Scott's like where right here in the dang on. Do I have to? What is the matter with people? Are they like completely slow?
We're live.
We are? Alright, good. Well, I'm going to do this one more time because these guys are so ridiculous.
Oh my gosh, no.
Barb, if we're live, then you saying stuff like that is not cool. Let's get it together. Alright? Uno, dos, tres, cuatro. Let's get this thing going. Alright? Thank you and welcome to another KMX course training. This is course training number 6. And today is the date of birth for a phenomenal legend in the industry, a gentleman by the name of Mr. Jim Rohn. Mr. Jim Rohn, happy birthday. He would be 85 today, in case you guys don't know. And if you don't know now, you know. It's your host with the most, Kamal J. Pryor, a.k.a. Quizmax. I'm the founder, CEO of Quizmax Inc. Social Media Professionals, newly acclaimed KMX Communications. So it's a very special day for me here as well. I am joined by such lovely ladies and fellow KMXers as my personal assistant, Miss Barb Palmer, a.k.a. Barb Wire KMX. Say hello to the people at home, Barb.
Hello, everyone.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. And I'm also joined by another Miss Awesome Sauce, Miss J. Fire KMX, a.k.a. Jillian Fry. How are you, Jillian? And say hello to the people at home.
Hello, I am phenomenal.
And you certainly are. And we're also joined all the way from the UK. Uh-oh. Miss Maria KMX. How are you, Miss Maria Harris? Say hello to the people at home joining us on our webinar.
Hello, everybody. I'm fantastic.
Awesome. And in case you don't know, or in case you've been underneath a rock for the past 30 years, every Tuesday I host a free training for my fellow KMXers and Team KMX. And hold on a second. I have one thing I need to do. I need to hit the eject button. I'm going to hit the eject button. Ooh, that's going to be ugly. I'm going to give... How many seconds should I count for somebody can rationally be able to join my webinar before I hit the eject button?
Give them 30.
What is
30 seconds. The eject button, hold on, I'm going to show it to you right now. Watch this.
Uh-oh.
Let's do it like G's. I can't find this guy. Very interesting. Oh, here we go. I'm gonna, before I hit the eject button, let me be kind.
Please be kind.
Oh.
Be kind.
I will be kind and put on my ascot. Okay. I'm only asking because I only have a limited amount of space on here. Okay, now back to where we left off at. I apologize to you people in television land and TV land. What we've done today at 4 o'clock, I attended a phenomenal webinar, and this webinar was hosted by none other than the legendary Mr. Eric Worre is. Anybody know who Eric Worre is? Do you know who Eric Worre is?
Yes.
Panel. Jillian, if you could tell us, what do you know about Eric Worre, and what do you think of Mr. Eric Worre, if you don't mind me asking?
I have attended some of his trainings on marketing, and he is a phenomenal person. He gives a lot of insight. I never learned a whole lot about his background, but I've listened to him and I'm very impressed with the things he says. He's very successful.
Yes, I'm gonna be quite honest with you, Mr. Eric Worre. I attended a webinar with him, a training with him for a weekend, and I think I spent about $90 on that. And I must say, it was awesome, if not tremendous. Mr. Eric Worre is one of the leaders in our industry. No ifs, ands about it. He has a brand called Network Marketing Pro, and he's the person who talks about network marketing, and he has a slogan where he says, we definitely have a better way. And Robert Kiyosaki is an individual who said that network marketing is the business model of the future. And why would he say that? And this is something that you people at home, I want you to probably to register. Why would Robert Kiyosaki, 7-time bestseller, author of Rich Dad Poor Dad, say that network marketing is the business model of the future? I'm going to share with you the reason why. Maria Harris, do you know the reason why Robert Kiyosaki says network marketing is the business model for the future?
Because of technology and the way it is now, maybe?
No,
I'm
not
guessing.
because of that. He says that network marketing is the business model of the future because it's the only model by which, from the amount of value that you bring to a business, that you can end up making more money than a founder or CEO of the very company that you are in. All right, you want me to prove it to you? There's a business out there called Organo Gold, and a gentleman that I'm also very fond of by the name of Mr. Holton Buggs. I'm pretty sure Jillian knows who this gentleman is. And Mr. Holton Buggs, when I first came into this industry, as far as my first year in online marketing, Mr. Holton Buggs was listed, financial disclosure statements in the whole nine, as making $7.5 million a year. And all that man did was knock on doors and sell coffee. $7.5 million a year. Is that a lot of money, Maria?
Yes.
Well, guess what, Maria? Last year's disclosure statements came in, and Mr. Holton Buggs was clocked at $15.5 million. His money done doubled with the amount that he made the first year I came into the industry. And Mr. Holton Buggs is upwards of 22 some odd million dollars a year right now. And that is more money than the founder and CEO of his own company. And Jillian knows that because she's actually in that business. And I want to share that with you. That is the reason why Mr. Robert Kiyosaki says that network marketing is the business model of the future. And if you're listening to this webinar at home, if you didn't think that you're going to get some valuable information or thought there was a reason maybe to sit home, maybe this right here, I believe everything happens for a reason, everything happens for the greater good. This is something that you needed to hear. Now, Robert Kiyosaki is so confident that network marketing is the business model of the future because businesses, if you work at General Motors or Ford and you're on the assembly line, there is a 0% chance that you're going to make more money than the CEO and founder of that company. And if you go and you flip burgers at McDonald's, there's a 0% chance you're going to make more money than Ronald. You know what I mean? I'm saying that figuratively. But in network marketing, you have that opportunity. So anytime that you realize that you're a network marketer, you're in a network marketing business, or you're in an online marketing business, and you get a whole bunch of leaders in the industry who get together, trust me, that is a special event. Because Scott Withers has been in this industry for 22 years, and he knows that if Eric Worre decided he was going to come to town and throw a speaking engagement, people would start shelling out money for those tickets. I promise you. And he'd sell out that auditorium, and the tickets would get up to $500 a piece easy, if not more. Especially if you throw on people like Les Brown, Tony Robbins, all right, and others. You know, Brian Tracy. Those guys don't typically talk for free. You see them in a few videos here and there, but I'm going to promise you, if they came to town and they started speaking, it would definitely be in your best interest to go check them out. If you're in this industry and you want to succeed in this industry, if you want a real simple formula for success in any industry, be a product of your product. That's what a lot of people don't know. And I didn't get that from the webinar. I'm sharing it with you guys right now listening. If you're a product of your product, believe me, you'll go places. If you get around with some of these top leaders, you're going to learn some things. And today, we had a very privileged opportunity to attend a free webinar that Eric Worre hosted in regard to a legend who's influenced all of these top leaders, and they're talking about a gentleman by the name of Jim Rohn. Now listen, somebody at home doesn't know who was on this webinar. Barb, if you can open up your microphone, I'm going to talk about some of the people on this lineup that they had. Not only was Eric Worre on that lineup, there was Darren Hardy. He talked about a few few things. I'm not sure if anybody's looked at any motivational videos online, but Les Brown is awesome. He was on there. Connie Pedestra, Tom Hopkins. All right, let me go through. I'm not done yet. There were so many people on there that it wasn't even funny.
Tony Robbins.
Tony Robbins was on there. Brian Tracy was on there. Goodness gracious, the list goes on and on. You got a part of me. I'm a little bit thrown off by some breeze that came here. It's hurricane season in Florida, so it always throws me off a little bit. But the bottom line is that the list of people on that webinar went on and on. Oh, John C. Maxwell was on there. All right, that guy right there is a beast. I mean, that's like, come on, that's like one of the leading salespeople in the country. Truth of the matter is, the list went on and on. Tons of valuable information. And if they were all influenced by a gentleman named Jim Rohn, it might be in your interest to find out a little bit about Jim Rohn. Jim Rohn passed away December 29th, and he would be 85 years old today. Eric Worre starts out, and the name of the program is the Foundations for Success, and they're actually selling the audio. If you want to purchase that product, it's out there. You can find out about you can get the audios and videos of Mr. Jim Rohn, and they have a wonderful learning thing. And if you're a person who wants to get plugged into finding some great information, trust me, all you got to do is find Mr. Eric Worre, and he's going to be plugging this stuff. He's been plugging this stuff for the past 8 days. So if you even go to his YouTube channel, trust me, you're going to find out a whole bunch of stuff. And definitely, I would encourage anybody to subscribe to Mr. Eric Worre's YouTube channel. Now, Mr. Worre talked about how he began by listening to Jim Rohn's, audio programs, line events, and he eventually got to work with him. And there was a company that they worked with called TPN, and that was in the 1990s. And Eric Worre was a CEO, and he got the opportunity to host a ton of programs that allowed Mr. Jim Rohn the opportunity to speak and share some of the wisdom that he acquired over the years, and put that together for the better good of everybody who was listening to those things. Now, there are a couple of stories that they told in this webinar that I really want to share with you guys. There was so much information. In fact, I don't know where to begin and where to end. Let's start by this. Somebody wants to succeed. Let me give you one little quote. This is a Jim Rohner. Tons of Jim Rohners I'm going to drop on you today. Don't be a follower, be a student. Don't be a follower, be a student. Brian Tracy talked about how he made his turning point when he heard Jim Rohn talk about goals. And when he discovered the power of goals, he said it made an immediate impact on his life and it transformed him. He talked about writing goals daily without looking back. Write them each day. He said, don't look back at the goals that you wrote yesterday, but write your goals every single day. Have your goals, write your goals, write them every single day, write them fresh and new. And what he said is that, and when you write goals each day, your goal will become more and more clear to you. Your goals will become more and more clear to you if you write your goals every single day. A phenomenal technique. And also something else was brought to the table. If you wouldn't follow yourself, then who would follow you? If you wouldn't follow yourself, then who would follow you? Now, a lot of people aren't prepared to be a strong leader yet, but in leadership, the challenge has to be something more than being mediocre. You have to challenge yourself to be somebody. This was something that was said later on in that webinar, and I want to share with you. Now, why am I starting off with goals writing? Because a lot of people don't realize that I say work to learn, and you learn to earn, and when you learn to earn, you get your return. I have three key phrases that govern Quizmax Inc. Giving is living, sharing is caring, and learning is earning. Mr. Jim Rohn said, the best education is a self-education. Formal education will get you a job. Self-education can get you a fortune. All right? He said great stuff like, your income is a reflection of your philosophy. I got that from off of the webinar. Did anybody see that?
Yes, I did.
All right. He talked about a lot of great things with education and being invested in yourself. But he gave some wonderful stories also that I'm also going to get into. He told us that readers are leaders, and the secret to happiness is progress. Progress makes people feel alive. Tony Robbins was so kind as to share that perspective, which I think is phenomenal. and definitely would take a person a long way. So some more things that I got out of this thing is,
So much.
yeah, there were so many different things in there. It's kind of hard to just key on even a couple of them. But I'm gonna make it really short and brief here by telling you about some other things. Now, the best education is self-education, and he definitely talked about you don't want to ever be educated. Never say that I'm educated. Always be learning. As long as you're always learning, you'll always have life. And he said, don't just learn. And Jillian, you're a teacher, so I'm pretty sure you picked up on this. He said, don't just learn and learn ways to help others.
Mm-hmm.
Did you get that, Jillian?
Yes, I did.
Something that I talk about every single day on my positive power meetings. I know a lot of people aren't fully attending these things. If you're just finding out about them, feel free to attend them every single day at 7 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. I release a positive power meeting. I don't even take Sundays off for those things. There's something that I do those positive power meetings for to combat negative self-image and things of this nature. And I talk about, I even have a video on YouTube saying attitude, rhymes with gratitude. Because you can't walk around looking like you're mad at dude and people looking at you like, what's the matter with dude? Listen to what Mr. Jim Rohn said. Mr. Jim Rohn said, the little difference is attitude. The big difference is whether it's negative or positive. Oh my goodness, I felt that was groundbreaking.
Yes.
He said, the little difference is attitude. This is for success. There's a little difference called attitude, but the big difference is whether it's negative or positive. I mean, come on now. Somebody right now might have reshaped everything that they're doing right now because they just learned something so valuable just in a couple of seconds of this webinar. And all of this stuff is just stuff I'm regurgitating off of a webinar that I just watched. Trust me, my webinar right here, my free training could do no justice compared to what we just got finished experiencing from some of the masters out there. All right. Something else that was said on there. Mr. Jim Rohn said that negative is normal. Did you guys pick up on that?
Yes.
Jim Rohn said that negative is normal. It's not successful, but it's part of life. So he said it's not a matter of what's negative. It's a matter of how you deal with it. I thought that was valuable. And tremendous.
I did too.
Celeste, did you get a chance?
Learn to handle it and don't ignore it.
Exactly. Thank you very much.
So
Celeste,
yes, I did, Quiz. I was there for the whole thing. It was absolutely wonderful, and I loved that analogy about the Girl Scout cookies.
And I'm glad that you brought that up because I hadn't got to that point, but I was definitely want to get to that right now because really the point of me doing this webinar to train you guys and want to make sure you guys get the opportunity to understand that when you have opportunities like these, don't let them slip through your fingers. Don't let them slip through your fingers. Trust me when I tell you that. There's so many things that I got out of that webinar.
I know it's so much. I got so many pages. I'm like, what?
Tony Robbins said that success is steady progress in reaching your own personal goals. He talked about don't let anybody design your life for you. These are all things that these individuals got directly from Mr. Jim Rohn. I mean, the whole webinar was about Mr. Jim Rohn, who's passed away, and happy birthday, Mr. Jim Rohn, again. If you were here today, trust me, if you could influence so many people, and with just the clips and stuff that they shared from Mr. Jim Rohn, tremendous, honestly. I would go out and buy that. I would go buy that series, and I would compel others to go find out about it. Mr. Brian Tracy added a perspective. He said that your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. And I talk about this on my Positive Power meeting every single day, but the way he broke it down so simply. Your outer world is a reflection of your inner world. So if you want to change your outer world, work on changing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Work on changing yourself. I think that, I mean, Barb, you come to all of my Positive Power meetings. Do you see where that actually applies to what it's doing? I
see all that. Now I know where you got all your info.
Well, no, I didn't get all of my info from there. I'm trying to tell you that the masters are here to remind us of some things, and Mr. Jim Rohn reminded us of so many things. We need to be reminded, not instructed. There are so many things that we've learned that even the lessons that I've given, sometimes we just need a reminder. You don't always necessarily have to get into instructional mode. And Jillian is a teacher, so I'm sure that she understands what I'm saying. We need to be reminded All right, when we're trying to attain our success, we need to be reminded. Scott, you have 22 years of experience in this industry. Let me share with you another perspective. All right, Scott, if you can open your mic, you're welcome to. Being the little extra is what counts. Being the little extra is what counts. Unbelievable stuff. If you can open up your microphone, Scott, just in a couple of minutes you've been on this webinar, all of the different things I've said here, I mean, where do you get all of this stuff in one place? That's just amazing.
Oh, it's absolutely. Can you hear me okay tonight?
Yeah, I hear you great, Scott.
Sometimes it's absolutely brilliant just to like remind yourself of all these things and to get the power of these inspirational speakers. Take for me today, for example, I've had a hell of a day today, and I don't normally have days like I have today because I normally, if something goes wrong in my business, I'm normally strong enough to change my mindset and to create a positive mindset for the next hour of my business as the day goes along. But today, for some reason, just everything one after the other, it's just gone crazy, 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 and I've had a horrible day in my business, and I've come here tonight for some Quizmatics inspiration to get my positive mindset back. I could have just gone to bed and thought, oh, you know, just sulk for the night. But no, I've come for some positive outlook so that I can go back after this and I can go back and help a couple of my team because I know that's what I need to do. You know, those kind of things are just so valuable to people.
Let me hit you with one from Tom Hopkins. Tom Hopkins was on that webinar also, and Tom Hopkins said, without a sense of urgency, desire loses its value. Everybody desires something, right? But without a sense of urgency, you know what I mean? Like, if you don't, I talked about in one of my positive power meetings, I talked about enthusiastic momentum. And when that enthusiastic momentum is just not there, you know, you want to do something, but you sit on the couch eating potato chips. You know what I mean? You know, watching The Sopranos. Like, that doesn't work that way. So I just thought that was an awesome point. And this is all stuff that's come from Mr. Jim Rohn. And he said, without a sense of urgency, your desire loses its value, period. And, you know, if we could all build downlines and just get that one concept alone, if they could just get that one concept alone, and Scott, you've been doing this for 22 years, you know what I'm talking about. If you could get everybody in your organization just to get that one concept alone, all right, that would be worth it. That would be tremendous. Life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. Life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by change. And this is the thing that Jim Rohn talked about, is that educating yourself is so important and so valuable. I want to get to the point that one of the points that oh man, there's just so much stuff that I got out of this webinar. It's kind of hard to even put it all into one words. Let's talk about the story of the shoe shine. Jillian, did you see the story of the shoe shine?
Yes.
Do you remember what they said in the story of the shoe shine, or what the point was?
Well,
Go ahead, Jillian.
Well, his point was about being thoughtful, being kind, and that having a positive effect on your own life. He was talking about when the person who did the shoe shine did a phenomenal job, and you think about tipping, and you usually come up with two amounts.
Right.
Just pick the higher amount. One, because it'll make you feel better. If you pick the higher amount, you feel like you've done something. You've brought a smile to somebody else's face, which brightens your day. If you pick the lower amount, then you'll be miserable the rest of your day because you'll be kicking yourself thinking, I could have done better. So I think his point was, we're helping people, we're being kind to people, we're always doing the best we can. And if we're always doing the best we can be content. If we don't, then we're not happy, we're not satisfied.
Yes, and the point that and it was a wonderful way that he put it too, because he said that you could be the one quarter. Are you a 1 quarter kind of person or a 2 quarter kind of person?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? Think about it. Like, are you a 1 quarter kind of person or are you a 2 quarter kind of person? If you're a 1 quarter kind of person, then you're gonna always think, well, you know, I'm cheap. And guess what? You're right. You're right. You're a cheap person. You're cheap, and the person that you're cheating the most is yourself. So he said, be that 2/4 kind of person. Be that quarter kind of person. There was another point that John C. Maxwell made. Great truths are timeless. And that was what was so awesome about this webinar, to be honest with you, because Mr. Jim Rohn's legacy is timeless. All right? Ah, man. Are you ready for this next one I have right here for you guys? This one is awesome. Activity finishes the miracle of turning something into nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody wanted something to happen. I think it was I forget her name, but the lady on the program pointed out that that people want so much out of life, but they don't ever really want to do anything, and then they wonder how come they're not getting the rewards. And there was another point that was brought up about the other point was about you get out of life what you deserve.
Mm-hmm.
Scott, this was awesome. They said you get out of life what you deserve. All right? He said you get out of life what you deserve, and he brought home the point that if you haven't done anything, you don't deserve anything. All right? So he brought home an analogy where he talked about how if you don't, what he said, if you don't plant
If
in
you
the
don't
spring,
plant, don't expect to reap.
yeah, if you don't, what did he say? Don't plant in the spring and then expect to reap in the summer or something like that.
Yeah, if you haven't planted seed, don't expect to reap when it's harvest time because you didn't plant anything.
Right, you
Absolutely.
planted little.
Absolutely. And I'm telling you, there was just so much stuff. There was so many things that he said. He said for things to change, you have to change.
Mm-hmm.
For things to change, you have to change. That's a direct quote from Mr. Jim Rohn. I actually used that I think I used it on my Facebook the other day. He said, don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Don't wish it were easier, wish you were better. Everybody's looking for the easy way out. That's what they're talking about. You don't get what you don't deserve. You have to put in the work to get what you deserve out of life. So they also said that success is not something that you pursue. Success is something you attract by the person you become. Success is not something that you pursue. You can't chase success. It's something that you attract by the person you become. Scott, would you agree with that quote right there?
Absolutely. 100%. I love the quote about sowing the seeds and not being able to reap your harvest. That's powerful.
It's extremely powerful. And I'm going to go to the point that that Celeste had brought up, and the lady's name was Connie Podesta, who was the one who brought up that point that I was trying to find out a second ago. Now, let me share with you a story. I got to tell you this story because I think that this right here just epitomized what Jim Rohn was all about. Jim Rohn told a story about how a little girl came to his door to sell Girl Scout cookies. And Jim Rohn is a master salesperson. So he recognized that this little girl came and she did a phenomenal job of selling these Girl Scout cookies. She came and she gave him a great presentation. And the presentation, Jim Rohn said something about presentation and persuasion. I'll get into that a little bit later on, but he said he was great at presentation, but he didn't really learn how to become a great salesperson. So he was saying, wait, everybody was telling about how great of a salesperson he was, but you know what I mean? He started looking like, hey, hold on, if I'm a great salesperson, how come I don't have any money? You know what I mean? And he said that, you know, yeah, all right, I have a great presentation. He said that they like the presentation side of it, but you don't really sell until you learn how to master persuasion. So he said you have to learn how to master presentation, then you learn how to master persuasion. But back to the story about the Girl Scouts selling the Girl Scout cookies. This is so valuable right now. I mean, for this right here alone, I think this is so valuable because I think it hits so many points. He said the little girl came to sell Girl Scout cookies. She did a masterful job of selling the Girl Scout cookies. She presented them. She went through her little list of what she had to say, and then she asked them to buy. Right? And now, he's a grown man. I think he said he was like 25 years old. He had children of his own and stuff like this. And he had a job. And he said that, I want you to listen to Scott. He said that he would have loved to have purchased those cookies from him from her, but here was his reality. Scott, he didn't have $2. He didn't have $2. He was broke. You follow me, Scott? Scott, the little girl came to sell Girl Scout cookies. She did a masterful job. He would gladly purchase those cookies from her, but he didn't have $2. And he said he felt ashamed because he didn't have $2. Because here he is as a grown man, he has children and the whole nine, and he literally doesn't have $2. So he said what he did was
Lying.
that he lied, Scott. He said that he lied. He told her that he just got finished purchasing a whole bunch of Girl Scout cookies, and he has a whole cabinet full, and she just came at the wrong time. And she said that, you know, she accepted the fact that he didn't buy, and she turned around and walked away, and he closed that door, and he kicked himself.
Right.
He kicked himself. Because I want to drive home this point. This is like one of the greatest points I think ever. He lied about being broke, and he made a decree to himself. He made a pledge to himself. He made a promise. He said this is the last time he was ever going to lie and be broke. He said this is the last time I will ever lie and be broke. So what Jim Rohn wants to advise us is to be ready for that day when that Girl Scout's going to come to your door. Be ready for that day that Girl Scout's going to come to your door. Be honest and don't be broke. Be honest and don't be broke. In other words, make sure you make a difference in your life today. Make sure you make a difference in your life today so that you're never in that situation. He said that transformed his entire life. Jillian, what did you think about that part when you heard him say that? Because honestly, that was just transformative to me.
I agree. Absolutely. You've got to never put yourself in a position where you have to lie your way out of it, or you know, just because you didn't make a decision, just because you didn't make right choices, just because you failed to act.
Just because you failed to act. And so you have to be honest with yourself. I think that there's so many different angles that were touched upon on that you need to be honest with yourself about what you're doing, and are you really moving in a direction to be successful. Celeste, what did you get from that story about the Girl Scouts, the Girl Scout cookie story?
I tell you, it kind of hit home because it's unfortunately and sadly true. You have to pick and choose what you spend your money on when you haven't got a wad of it in your pocket. It was very poignant and very apropos, and I appreciated how he made the comment that it changed his life at that particular moment and gave him the drive to become more than he was at that moment. That was quite moving. Made you think.
And I'm going to share something with you. He is a firm believer in education. From that point forward, Mr. Jim Rohn made a firm decision that he was never going to be that person. He was never going to be that person that when you came to him, he wasn't going to have. He made a decision. I think that it really ties into a lot of other things, which is the reason why I wanted to make it the centerpiece for this training day. It tied into his shoe shine story. Are you a 1/4 kind of person or a 2/4 kind of person? You know? Are you a 1/4 kind of person or a 2/4 kind of person? The secret to happiness is progress. Progress makes people feel alive. I said that before. I'm going to say it again. I told you guys about his investments in education. He said that readers are leaders. Readers are leaders. I'm pretty sure from that point forward he did a lot more reading. He took things a lot more seriously. He said you must take the responsibility for your own education. He said that you must take on the responsibility for your own education, and don't finish your education. Never finish your quest for knowledge. Never finish your quest for knowledge. And he also made a point with in tandem with that shoe shine story and the Girl Scout story, that it's not how much it costs, it's how much it'll cost you to not buy it. When he was talking about a book and educating yourself and getting informed and getting information, it's not how much it costs, it's how much it's going to cost you not to buy it, which I thought was very important stuff. He said the best education is self-education. You know, formal education will get you a job, self-education will get you a fortune, and your income is a reflection of your philosophy. Your income is a direct reflection of your philosophy. I thought that was awesome. I thought all of that was awesome. There were so many different things I got out of this. You know, and listen, there was another point that he made near the end of the webinar. I need to share this with you guys. Life is not designed to give you what you need. It was designed to give you what you deserve. Life is not designed to give you what you need. It's designed to give you what you deserve. That was when they had the point of Jillian, where they're talking about if you don't plant in the spring, then don't expect a harvest in the summer. You know, and be careful of the word deserve. Deserve gives you a feeling of entitlement. Never feel as though you deserve anything. Work for what you deserve. Earn what you deserve. He definitely believed in that. When people believe they deserve things, they stop working for them. Connie had made that point, which I thought was awesome. Les Brown talked about to be an effective communicator, you must study. He said to be a great communicator, you must be a good listener. You can't communicate if you don't listen. And man, there were so many different things. The secret of abundance is doing more for anybody else, and greatness comes from serving a great many. Greatness will come from serving a great many, so be a better servant. He talked about the best secret of the rich is management of time. Life is not just the passing of time, it's a collection of experiences, their frequency, and their intensity. He talked about, remember when I talked about taking action and, you know, and being ready to make some stuff happen. Urgency. Remember I talked about urgency a couple of seconds ago, Scott. He said, take heavy action on a good idea. And listen to this. I really wanted to share this right here because I thought it was really just a poignant point. And Maria, I'll let you open up your microphone so you can respond to how you feel about this. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge and become a fool. Don't let your learning lead to knowledge and become a fool. Let your learning lead to action and become wealthy. What do you think about that point right there, Maria?
Well, I think what it means is you can learn a lot of things, but if you don't take action, then you just know a lot of things, you know, if you don't take action.
I think so too. And I think that what he's saying is, you know, don't learn a whole bunch of stuff to be a fool. You know what I mean? Scott, you know some people who sit around and they're learning a whole bunch of things and they're not actually doing anything. They're just learning and learning and learning and learning and waiting and waiting and waiting and waiting, and they can regurgitate all these facts from a book, but they can't do anything. Have you ever seen those kind of people, Scott?
Every single day.
You know what I'm talking about. It's true. You know, these guys will tell you everything in the world, and then it's like, man, what's really going on? So, you know, it helps you to understand about being an action taker versus being an action faker.
It's okay getting the knowledge, but it's what you do with that knowledge that counts. You need to take action on whatever you've learned.
Les Brown brought up a point. He said, don't suffer from possibility blindness. Don't suffer from possibility blindness. If you can't see the possibilities, then you're not going to take action. But you need to take action when you see the possibilities and go after what it is that you want to do. He said, too many people are attracted. He said, too many people are attracted to their distractions. He said, too many people are attracted to their distractions. Come on, man. I mean, every single day I see that. Every single day I see that. It's so true. Make a decision that you're going to live the story you are going to tell. Make the decision you're going to live the story that you're going to tell. Celeste, how did you feel about that right there? I just thought that was another poignant point that I heard in a session we just did.
You're the only one that can make your life change. Period. You need to move forward. You need to find the right answer. You need to find the right thing to do, the right way to do it. It's just you are your own worst or own best friend. Your own worst enemy or your own best friend.
Well, I help you. Robert Kiyosaki has a quote. He says that you are your own greatest asset or your own worst liability. If you recall, I used that in my winner circle. That was the whole point to my winner circle article at the end of the day. I just want to make sure people know that, and it just is fitting right there. I'm gonna really get ready to wrap this up, but I just want to let you guys know, if you're in KMX, you're doing things consistently every single day. If you're attending my Positive Power meetings, God, I know that I'm not sure if you are aware of it. I throw a Positive Power meeting at 7 a.m. every day Eastern Standard Time here in the U.S. I know you're out in the U.K., so I'm not sure what time it is or if you're at work or whatever. But one of the best things that you could possibly do is get on that thing and be consistent, because Jim Rohn would definitely endorse the things I'm doing. He said that repetition is the mother of skill. He said that repetition is the mother of skill. If you are repeatedly taking actions and you are repeatedly setting a tone for yourself, and you start to take that success journal that I advise, believe me, you're gonna be A-okay. There's nothing gonna stop you eventually. And he said that if you think that education is expensive, because somebody's gonna say, listen, I don't believe it. Listen, I don't want to spend money. I don't want to spend money. I don't want to spend money on something that's going to educate you. You guys know, as KMX, is the first and foremost thing I talk about is education here. Scott, you've been with me the whole time, and you know that that's my priority here. You know, work to learn, you learn to earn, you learn to earn, you get your return. I can say it till I'm blue in the face, but the truth of the matter is, if you think education is expensive, wait till you see how much money you're going to spend on being ignorant. Watch how much that's going to cost you. If you think education is expensive, try ignorance. See which is more expensive. I thought that was just brilliant. Just that point right there alone, like, you know what I mean? That should deserve like 7 stars right there. Now, I'm gonna leave you guys with some interesting excerpt that I also found from Mr. Jim Rohn that I just thought was so on point. He said, the best answer to why. All right, and Scott, I'm gonna lead this towards you with talking about the urgency. All right, the urgency and why it's important to have urgency, because if you don't have urgency, then it just kills your desire. The best answer to why, and he gave 4 answers to why. The best answer to why is, well, why? 1, all right? Somebody's gonna, you know, ever see that person that's always questioning, like a little kid, like, why? Well, why? First off, ask yourself that question, why? Right? Question number 2, why not? Right? Think about it. Why not? Somebody has doubt, so they need to understand that, all right, your question, you're gonna ask why. Well, let's flip that question around. Let's ask ourselves why not? And then let's ask ourselves a third question. Why not you? Why not you? Don't sit around and let me get all the success. Why do you want to check into a program? Well, good question. Why not? All right, I'm going to succeed. Well, why not you? And let's ask the 4th question. Why not now? Why? Why not? Why not you? Why not now? Make a decision. Get with a social media professional today. Get some more free training and give them every Tuesday. And let me share it with you. Don't postpone your future. Get started today. Don't postpone your future. Get started now. Don't postpone your future. Get started immediately. All it takes is a decision. Make a decision. Make the rest of your life the best of your life. That's what was said by my good friend. Well, he's not my friend yet, but he will be in the future, Mr. Eric Thomas. Make the rest of your life the best of your life. And if you've been joining us on this webinar, and I mean, there's so many different things I could give you, but I think the value is endless. Scott, did you think that this was a valuable webinar, or what did you think?
Absolutely. It's just reminded me as well of something that somebody told me, one of my coaches told me a long, long time ago. I was always a big believer in fate and destiny, that you didn't have any control over your own destiny and fate. But he learned me that everybody has control over their own destiny. It's just everybody's destiny is somewhere in your head, and it's finding that. It's digging deep enough inside your head to find your own destiny, and your destiny is there. And it's whichever destiny you want to choose, because there's a few there, but it's up to you to find the right one for yourself.
Wisdom and faith deposited into reality. Ideas and faith can become your reality. So, you know, success is steady progress in reaching your own personal goals. So keep on making your steady progress and take that action. Barb, did you get anything valuable out of that webinar and out of this webinar training that I just gave here?
Yes, I did. A lot of stuff. It was point after point after point. I mean, nugget after nugget after nugget.
I mean, seriously, it was awesome, honestly, and I think that it was a transformative experience for myself. Maria, if you can unmute your mic, how did you feel about the experience of attending the webinar and getting the information? And do you think that you're ready to make some? Do you think that any of this stuff is going to make a difference for you?
I think it made a lot of difference to me in the way I do things, the way I talk to people. You know, I mean, I've been struggling for a while talking to people, and you get a lot of doors slammed in my face. But yeah, for me, I'm still learning how to talk to people, how to communicate better, and I don't know, I'm getting the impression it's all about timing when I talk to people. And so the webinar that we watched, I found it very informative. Like Barb said, there was a lot said. There was a lot to take in. I almost wished I could have recorded it or something so I could watch it again and again.
Well, the beautiful thing is that these guys, they have a series. You could always invest and get into it, and they definitely encourage people to invest. And the thing about it is, I know a lot of people out there, they don't really understand the value of education, and I think that that's one of the things that I think you really get if you really understand what Mr. Jim Rohn was about. If you really understand what Mr. Jim Rohn was about, you understand that he was about education, and he really would encourage us that don't be a 1/4 kind of person. Be a 2/4 kind of person. Would you agree, Jillian?
Yes, it's way better to be a 2/4 kind of person.
There was another thing that Les Brown said that I want to bring out also. He said that we're in an information age, and the problem is not a lack of information. The problem is in a lack of putting information into action.
Action, yeah, information overload. Actually.
All right, listen. Hold on. I just felt as though I felt the Holy Spirit come over me, and I just needed to drop that little nugget right there, Scott. You know, the problem is not in a lack of information. The problem is in putting the information into action. All right. And another thing is, just so that you know, just in case so we're perfectly clear, anything that is easy to do.
About time.
Anything that's easy to do.
Stop doing.
Is easy to not do, right?
Yeah.
Anything that is easy to do is easy not to do. So why take the easy way out? It's just it really just brings validation to what I'm teaching you guys over in that winter circle.
I was gonna say that over there.
Yeah. So self-protection leads to mediocrity. Connie Podesta brought out that lesson that she learned from Mr. Jim Rohn. Self-protection leads to mediocrity. So if you protect yourself in a bubble and you're scared to get outside of your comfort zone, then you're going to settle for average and be a mediocre. But self-investment leads to a fortune. Hold on a second. Self-protection leads to mediocrity, but self-investment leads to a fortune. And what that means is don't be ashamed to invest in something that's going to benefit you. Don't be ashamed to invest in something that's going to benefit you. And never stop your quest for knowledge and learning, but don't think that learning something is going to be more valuable than putting something into action. I think that's the best way I could sum it up. And I guess, Jillian, I'll leave you with the final word before we get out of here and say love, peace, and chicken grease.
Oh goodness.
Okay, really? I'm supposed to follow all of that up. I think no, the bottom line to these guys is you, like we say every morning, you need to be the best person you can be. And you need to do that not just for yourself, but with an eye to being the best you can be to help others as well. If we focus on being the best we could be in any area of our lives and keep the focus on doing that as well as helping others, we will be successful. We will be so successful that again we'll be able to help and do things and never be in a position where somebody comes to us to ask for something and we can't help them. So it's about being your best and doing your best for others.
I think that that is the perfect summarization. And I appreciate you for joining us. Both of you guys from the UK, Mr. Scott Withers, also Miss Maria Harris. Jillian Fry, it's always a pleasure to have you. Bar Palmer, you know you better be at every one of my webinars. All right. But guys, love, peace, chicken grease. Feel free to contact us. Believe me, KMX University is open. Classes started. Please be sure to enroll.
Go ahead.